Hello and welcome. My name is Honey Bueno with Tracking Transactions. Today, I'm going to talk about agency bill and how I can keep track of all of them. If you are an insurance agency and you have agency bill items that come across your desk, or across your computer, I should say, um, that they all have a different thing, right? Or they're very similar, but maybe one insurance company might do things differently than another. This is why I have a worksheet or an Excel worksheet that I keep track of all of these things in. So I'm going to share with you what I share or what I track, I should say. Now, if you're new to the insurance bookkeeping space and you don't know what in the world is agency bill or um, direct bill, I would say agency bill would be the most complicated billing type within the insurance agency. And I actually do have a video that I did that teaches the difference between agency bill and direct bill. In that video, it also talks about return premium and return commission, that kind of thing. And it gives examples of what the invoices or the statements might look like, which will be very helpful if you have a new person. Anyhow, I will put that link to the video in the comments, and that way you can find it later. And actually, that will be in my group. It's in the insurance bookkeeping with tracking transactions group, Facebook group. All right, so let me get started. I'm going to share my screen and then we will, let's see, get going. All right, so here we are. The first column here, you want to label that company or broker name. So in our example here, we have the Good Insurance Company that we're working with. Now the entity code, what this means is, for example, I work in the system called Applied Epic. And when you add a new company, so for example, if we added Good Insurance Company, then the system will give it a code. So that's what this code is, what it means. It's from your accounting system or your agency management system. All right. What this column is called, it says net premium payment by. So how do you pay, or how do you pay the Good Insurance Company the net premium for the invoice or the statement? So there's three ways. So I have a drop down here. It's a little bit hard to see on the screen there, but one way is by ACH. What that means is if you can work with your bank and set up a template where you can go online into your bank and make your payments by ACH. So that's one way. Another way is by check. And another way would be what I call PACH. So an ACH is where I'm going into the bank and I am the one, initiating that payment to the insurance company. PACH is what I call where it could be two versions of a PACH. So I'll take the example of auto owners because I believe it might be a requirement. Um, but whenever your company, your insurance agency makes a contract with the insurance company, some of them have like stipulations, like they are going to pull the money from our bank account. So I think auto owners is like that, and there's maybe a couple others out there. But anyway, that's what I would refer to as a PACH because they're going to pull the money out of your account. It's just something it's easy for me to remember. PACH, they pull the money. That's not really like an accounting thing or that I've ever heard before. But anyway, just something I made up. The other way a PACH would occur is if on the invoice or the statement, there is a clickable link to go pay online. So you can go online, either online to the insurance company site, or they may be set up with something like what's called ePay. So ePay is where a lot of people work with, they outsource it so that you can go online and make your payments online that way. So that's another way I would call PACH is if you click a link and go pay on the site. Of all of these, to me, the easiest, fastest, most efficient way to pay would be by PACH. Um, the reason is because if you pay by check, obviously that involves you printing a check, then someone signing a check, and that can take a lot of time. And then the postage and all that. And also with ACH, that involves tracking like all of the stuff, the money that's going to be paid by each insurance company, and then you have to like go online to the bank, and then you have to make all those payments, and then you have to then email the insurance company to let them know, like, hey, there's a payment coming to you for invoice number 123, like things like that. So that takes a lot more time. Whereas a PACH, you just go online and make the payment. You fill in like your agency code or your um, invoice number and make the payment. And the only thing I really do from there would download the receipt of that payment and attach that in Epic to the insurance company. Okay, so I'm going to move on now. If you have any questions, let me know about that. Um, Now, if you are going to pay by ACH, my recommendation is to make sure that you have the last four of the bank account number to that insurance company listed here. The reason for this is because I've come across an insurance company where I don't understand why it's like this, but they have a different bank account number for different reasons. I don't know the reason. I just know that there are at least three different bank account numbers for this one particular company. And so you want to be mindful that you're making sure you pay the right one, and it will say it on the invoice. So that's why I have this here. So for example, if the good insurance company did that, well, then I would drag this all the way down 3 times, like copy that down 3 times, and then put the ending account number for each of the other two to keep my head straight on what I'm paying. Okay, now this column right here, it says statement received via company or broker or invoice received from the account manager. So what this is saying is some of the insurance companies are giving you invoices. So that's like basically paying for one policy. And some of them, they will add all the policies onto one statement. So usually when it's by a statement, then we receive those either by snail mail, or we receive those via email, or we go online to get those. So that's why I have here the choices, like, is it a statement or are you getting an invoice? And the invoice most likely will come from the account manager. So if the account manager bills that invoice, they will send that invoice over to us to get it paid. Okay. The next thing, let me scroll over. All right. Notes. Now, these are just different things I was thinking of that, remember I told you that agency bill can have different quirks, I should say, for each different company. So, and here's some ideas of what those might be. So, for example, I would put a note like, don't use ePay because there's a fee. um, Not all of them do that. A lot of them do not have a fee. So let me just stress that right there. A lot uh, of the ePay links do not have a fee. But some of them do have a fee. And all of this is based on actually the insurance company itself. So I will make a note like, maybe I don't want to pay the fee. I will either mail a check or I will pay by ACH instead. So those are ways to avoid, so you can keep most of your money in house. All right. Or the other note might be the carrier will draft our account on the 15th of the month. So that's telling me that's a PACH, and I need to make sure and go follow up with that, making sure I get that recorded. Um, Or in your notes, you might have instructions on how to navigate the site. So some of these sites are, um, really straightforward and some are not. So for the ones that are not, then you can have instructions on how you can go online to make that payment. Um, some of the insurance companies require a screenshot. If I'm paying by ACH, they want a screenshot of the completed ACH confirmation. So, you would just put that note in here. Some of them, um, you can only pay one invoice at a time online. So if you want to go do like the PACH option, and if you have multiple invoices, you might have to do it one at a time, which takes a long time. So these are things that you'll have to balance and learn for yourself, ways to maximize your time. Like if it's going to take you too long, then maybe do it a different way, right? You don't always have to stick to the one way. Just know that you have options. Um, Also, I have a note on here. Like if I have to email, some of the insurance companies want like um, a lot of the data, like the actual invoice emailed back to them. So if they do that, if they require that, I will put a note on here to make sure that I encrypt that email. Some of them you can pay by ACH, but what I've noticed, it is way too complicated with their accounting team to work with. So that's why I'll put a note on here, mail check, even though ACH is offered, because they're hard to work with, to be quite honest. Um, so, when you experience hard to work with some like a insurance company, then they're just going to get a check and that's the end of it, because I don't want to deal with the amount of email back and forth to pay a bill. Shouldn't be that difficult, but for some insurance companies it is. All right. The next thing I want to talk about is email link for payment info. So when I get that, usually they will have that on the invoice. I put that in here, and what's nice about it is when I'm ready to pay, I can click on here to send an email when I'm paying by ACH. So it's just really fast that way. Um, Also, phone number. In case I put that phone number on here, I have it. This is like a quick reference, because imagine, yes, you're going to probably have in your agency management system a lot of this information in there. But for me and my team, all of it is on one spreadsheet. And we can quickly access this stuff really fast. So again, it goes back to efficiencies. It'll take you time to build the worksheet, but then in the end, it will save you time that you have to go and look up each company phone number and so forth. Um, Anyhow, the next thing is the agency code. So on your invoice or on your statement, it will have your agency code. So I would put that here. Some insurance companies have codes for different branches or locations that you might have. So you might have multiple codes here. Or and actually what I would do is enter like copy this down and just enter a separate line item for each one so that you can track those easier. All right, tax ID. So if you ever have to call this company or reach out to someone at the company, most likely they may ask you for your agency tax ID number. So you should just have that readily available. Um, who manages it? So if you have multiple people on your team, you may have, certain people managing maybe the carriers like letters A through M, and then maybe someone manages N through Z. So then you can say which, team member is managing this particular insurance company. Here's a link to their website. I have that in there too. And this is for the reason if you're going to log on to go make a payment or log on to grab a statement, you can click the link, and then your username would go here and password. Now I'm going to tell you right now, I do not put a username and password in a spreadsheet. I know a lot of people do though. If you do, make sure you're protecting your worksheet. Um, And if you don't know how to do that, you can Google how to do that. But it's pretty easy to protect your worksheet. And what I would use is a password manager. That's what I use. It saves a ton of time, a ton of time. That password manager saves me. So, and it's all, you can share passwords within the password manager and not, and the person that you're sharing it with won't even see the password. So depending on, what password manager you're using. So I highly recommend a password manager. All right, so I'm going to scroll back to the left. Now, some things to keep in mind to help you with managing your time and all of this is, for example, um, maybe your agency only prints checks on one day during the week. So in this example here, maybe checks get entered on Mondays, but they print on Tuesday. Okay. ACH payments are on the first and third week of the month on Tuesdays. And then PACH payments are the first and third week of the month, but on Wednesdays. So creating like a workflow, a system for your team to know like when you're going to be making these payments. That way they can make sure that they have the money collected from the insured before you go online and make your payment to the company. Let's see here. Yeah, so just be mindful of that payment schedule to help maximize your time on everything that you're doing. All right. And then one other thing I want to share with you is once you get your worksheet built out, like I said, I have over 100 that I work with. So on one worksheet has everything I need to know, right? All the things that we just discussed. But now what you can do is once you get everything, on your worksheet, then what you can do is you can filter and maybe take everything. You'll add a different worksheet for each different method of payment. So for example, check, I would filter by check. Then I will copy those and put those on the check tab here. And then ACH could go here under template and then PACH. Let me go back here. So I hope that makes sense to you. But what happens is then it's very easy for you to quickly see, okay, today is my check day. Let me go to my check worksheet. And you go into your system. So like in Applied Epic, we run the balancing current premium payables report. From there, then it tells you all the things that we have coming due. You can quickly go through all the pages and only look for anything that's a check. And it's right here in front of you. So you don't have to remember, wait, do I pay that one by check, or is that by ACH, or is that by PA? Like you don't have to think about it because it's already here for you. Same with PACH. On your PACH day, come here, run that balancing current premium payables report and see which items you're going to pay from that report. All right. So I'm going to come back here. So that's what I wanted to share about agency bill. I hope that was helpful. Again, if you are not sure what is agency bill, then you can join my free group. And actually, let me show you where that is. So in Facebook, you can look for insurance bookkeeping with tracking transactions. And within here, I have guides set up. So within the guide, you will go to the insurance bookkeeping guide, and that's where you would find the video. And I will put the link to that video here in my insurance bookkeeping with tracking transactions. I'll put it under this video after we're done here. Anyhow, if you scroll down, you can see all the different things that I share. Every Monday, around Monday, I try to tell you what I'm going to teach for the week. Usually it's either an insurance bookkeeping tip, applied Epic tip, a productivity tip, or a training tip, or tools that I use, or reminders, and so forth. But if I scroll back up to the top here, let's see here. If I go to guides, you can see now everything is organized it's put into a guide after I teach. So this video that I'm working on right now for agency bill, that's going to go under insurance bookkeeping tips. This is the guide for that. And you can see here that how I have all these other trainings that I've done, and scroll down here. And this is the video I was mentioning if you're new. Agency bill, return premium, direct bill, return commission. Oh my, because really, it really is a lot. That's a 30-minute video if you'd like to learn the basics of insurance bookkeeping. All right, so this um, is on Facebook, and also I have the same name, Insurance Bookkeeping with Tracking Transactions, on LinkedIn. Um, Although LinkedIn doesn't have all the fancy stuff that Facebook does with guides and so forth. So it's really literally just scrolling through here to find what you need um, in there. So let me stop sharing my screen. All right. So again, my name is Honey Bueno with Tracking Transactions. I hope what I taught today was helpful for you. And again, I invite you to join our Facebook group, Insurance Bookkeeping with Tracking Transactions, where I share a different tip every week. And I invite you to also share in the group too. So I thank you for your time. And yeah, let me know in the comments if this was helpful. All right, take care. Bye.